Before football became a global business. Before billion-pound television deals. Before luxury hospitality boxes and giant video screens. There were grounds like these. Places built when factory chimneys dominated Britain's skylines. Some of these stadiums were already standing before the invention of the motor car. Some survived 2 world wars. Some witnessed football's earliest pioneers shaping a game that would eventually captivate billions around the world. Today, modern stadiums offer comfort, convenience, and spectacular facilities. Remarkably, a handful of Britain's oldest football grounds are still standing today. These aren't just stadiums. They're living pieces of history. And in this video, we're traveling back more than 200 years to discover the 10 oldest football stadiums in Britain still telling their stories. Watch until the end. We'll arrive at a stadium that was already standing before football itself had truly been invented. Number 10. Anfield, 1884. Today, Anfield is known around the world as the home of Liverpool Football Club. But the story of Anfield begins with a surprising twist. Because Liverpool weren't the first club to call this ground home. Everton were. When Anfield opened in 1884, Everton moved in and quickly established themselves as one of the strongest clubs in England. For several years, the ground echoed with blue rather than red. Yet disagreements between Everton officials and the ground's owner eventually led to a dramatic split. Everton departed across Stanley Park to build a new home at Goodison Park. The owner of Anfield suddenly found himself with a football stadium but no football club. In 1892, Liverpool Football Club was formed. A new team for an empty stadium. Few could have imagined what would follow. Anfield became one of football's most iconic venues. Many grounds have history. Few have atmosphere. Anfield somehow possesses both. And as our journey continues, we leave Merseyside and travel to the industrial heartlands of Lancashire. Number 9. Turf Moor, 1883. Nestled among the hills and former mill towns of Lancashire stands a stadium that feels deeply connected to football's working-class roots. This is Turf Moor, home of Burnley Football Club since 1883. Long before football arrived, sport was already being played here. In fact, Burnley Cricket Club had occupied the site since the 1840s. The relationship between cricket and football was common in Victorian Britain. When Burnley Football Club was invited to use land beside the cricket field, few could have predicted the remarkable future ahead. Unlike some of football's grandest cathedrals, Turf Moor has always felt grounded in its local community. The stadium has witnessed promotions, relegations, cup runs, and periods of hardship. Yet through every era, it has remained a constant presence on the Lancashire landscape. Standing there today, it's easy to imagine Victorian spectators gathering for matches more than 140 years ago. Number 8. Ewood Park, 1882. As we continue our journey through Britain's footballing past, we arrive at a ground that belongs to one of the game's true pioneers. Ewood Park, home of Blackburn Rovers, a club whose history stretches back to football's earliest days. Blackburn Rovers would soon become one of the most successful clubs in the country. In the late 19th century, they dominated the FA Cup, helping establish Lancashire as one of football's great heartlands. For many younger supporters today, Blackburn might seem a modest club compared to England's modern superpowers. And then, over a century later, Ewood Park witnessed one of football's most remarkable modern fairy tales. The 1994-95 Premier League season. Against the odds, Blackburn Rovers became champions of England. Ewood Park reminds us that football's story is never fixed. Power shifts. Dynasties rise and fall. Yet some grounds endure through it all. And our next destination belongs to a club that achieved something no English team had ever done before. Number 7, Deepdale, 1878. Few stadiums can claim a connection to football's earliest glory quite like Deepdale. Nestled in Preston, Lancashire, this historic ground has been home to Preston North End since 1878. Many supporters regard Deepdale as one of the oldest continuously used football grounds in the world. When the Football League was founded in 1888, Preston North End were among its original members. During the inaugural Football League season, Preston achieved something extraordinary. They won the league title. They won the FA Cup. And they did so without losing a single match. Long before Arsenal's Invincibles captured headlines around the world, there was Preston North End. The original Invincibles. The Premier League arrived. Yet Deepdale remained. For Preston supporters, this ground is more than a stadium. It's a connection to the very birth of organised football. And as we continue our journey, we're about to visit a venue whose story stretches beyond football alone. Number 6, Rodney Parade, 1877. Rodney Parade features on our list despite being a rugby stadium for much of its lifetime. Built in 1877, located in Newport, South Wales, Newport RFC played their first game there just a few years later. It wasn't until 2012 that Newport County moved from Newport Stadium to play its home fixtures at Rodney Parade. With Newport County in residence, Rodney Parade is one of the oldest sports venues in the English Football League. With so much history, it's good to see there is still life in the ground yet. But now our countdown takes us back to London. To a stadium recognised by football fans across the globe. Number 5, Stamford Bridge, 1877. Opened in 1877, the stadium was originally used by the London Athletic Club. In 1905, Chelsea Football Club were formed and moved in to occupy the ground. They have played their home games at the bridge ever since. The ground has undergone major changes over the years, most recently in the 1990s when it was renovated into a modern, all-seater stadium. With further plans to expand the stadium, Stamford Bridge looks set to retain its rich history for a long time to come. Number 4, Tannadice Park, 1870. Scotland makes its mark on our list with Tannadice Park. Originally known as Cleppington Park, the ground was first used for football in the 1870s. In 1909 a new club, Dundee Hibernian, was formed. But what makes Tannadice truly unique isn't just its age. It's its location. Just a short walk away stands Dens Park, home of Dundee Football Club. The two stadiums are separated by barely 180 metres. The rivalry has produced unforgettable moments and countless local stories passed down through generations. From the club's earliest years as Dundee Hibernian to the modern era of Scottish football with name Dundee United FC. It remains a proud symbol of the city and its people. Number 3, Field Mill, 1861. Mansfield Town's Field Mill Ground, now known as the One Call Stadium, is the oldest professional football ground in the world. Field Mill has been used as a football ground since 1861, and as a cricket ground for a few years before that. The first grandstand was built in 1922 along the west side of the ground, with the other three sides all completed by 1926. In 1929, using money from their cup run of the previous year, a covered stand was built on the Bishop Street side of the ground. Field Mill staged the first competitive match to be played under artificial light in this country when the North Notts League Senior Cup final was played at Field Mill under floodlights in 1930. National exposure for the stadium was gained in 1998, with the first match ever played with a new yellow fluorescent ball took place. Number 2, Brummel Lane, 1855. Opened in 1855, the ground originally hosted cricket before becoming one of the most important venues in football history. This is where some of football's earliest major matches were played, including the final of the Udan Cup in 1867, widely regarded as the world's first football tournament. Despite being used by the Wednesday FC, later renamed Sheffield Wednesday, it is now the home of Sheffield United since the club's formation in 1889. Number 1. The Racecourse Ground, 1801. Standing proudly in North Wales, the Racecourse Ground is unlike any other stadium on this list. Built in 1801, it predates every football ground we've visited. Originally built for horse racing and cricket, it wasn't until 1864 that the stadium was used to host football matches. Today, the Racecourse Ground holds the distinction of being the oldest international football stadium still in use anywhere in the world. In recent years, Wrexham's remarkable revival has introduced the club to a global audience. And as we reach the end of our countdown, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. These grounds are far more than football stadiums.